Are the Tekken team deaf, dumb, blind, or all three combined at the same time? This was one of the most shambolic and outright disgusting displays of Tekken that I've ever seen in my life. And I can't believe I'm even using that language to describe a video game. But I was sitting there thinking to myself, what the hell is going on? And before anyone says, oh, you're complaining too much before you've even played the game, they sat on a presentation for 2.5 hours and put media out for us to consume. I can only comment on what I've seen. Now, I'd be very happy to eat my words if we get the game and we're completely wrong. And what they showed us is a very small portion of the changes, because they did say there's over 1,000 changes. But this is what they showed us, and that is what I'm going to go on. I don't like doing the whole speculating thing anymore. I don't like doing the whole good faith. I don't feel like these developers have earned it. I'm not just talking about Bandai Namco, just in general. So when they show me something, I will comment on that thing that they've shown me. If it turns out that it's not meant to be that way and they just messed up the presentation, well, that says a lot about their presenting skills. And I've got no problem walking back my talking points, but we're going to talk about what we saw. Now, first off, there was absolutely no mention of doing anything about the rampant cheating in Tekken 8. I've said this multiple times. I'm not looking for clout from all of the cheating exposures that myself and Blackheart have been doing and other members of the community. I could care less if anybody names me. I don't care if people take credit for it. My concern is with the game being playable, and cheaters are running the show right now. Cheaters have the Tekken team by the short and curlies. Now, I don't need them to tell me what they are doing with the cheating. I just need them to tell me that they're actually paying attention to it and something is happening. I don't need to know what the intricacies that go into it. If they want to share that information, fantastic, but they don't need to tell us. A simple acknowledgement would have been nice, but there was zero. And Tekken has the biggest cheating problem that I have ever seen on any fighting game, and it's not even close. And you know, as you guys say, I'm a bit of a tourist, right? I jump between game to game, so I would know this is by far the worst, and there was no acknowledgement. On top of that, they did not follow through with the feedback that they gave us. And I found this really, really hilarious because Michael Murray and Harada were saying that they're not shrugging off what we're saying in terms of showing us what content is going to be in the season pass, but they need to look at all of these social media platforms and then go based on that. And to that I say, are you not paying attention to the reception of Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 6? Have you ever seen anybody complaining that they got all of the characters at the same time? Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 6 are Tekken's competition, essentially. They're the big three. They're the ones that sell the most. They're the ones with the most name value. Those are the ones that people recognize the most. That is the competition. The competition shows us what we get. Now, for all the problems that Mortal Kombat has, showing us all the characters is not one of them, and nobody has ever complained about it. We know what we're getting. We know what we're paying for. People are happier to depart of their money. Same goes for Street Fighter 6. So why you need to run a poll on every single social media platform is beyond me. I don't understand it at all. We did not ask for you to show us returning character, stage, new character. We asked you to show us what is coming. At the very least, you could have shown us the returning characters and then left the new character a mystery, because it's a new character. That I can accept. But a returning character, a character we already know, and you confirmed it's not Akuma, just show it to us. We just want to know what we're paying for. Why is this a hard concept for the Tekken team to grasp? And then on top of that, one of the stages is a tribute to Pac-Man to celebrate the 45th anniversary or something. But look, respectfully, I don't give a fuck about Pac-Man, okay? I get it. Pac-Man's a legendary figure in the gaming industry, but we're playing Tekken. I'm not playing Pac-Man. I don't care. I know it's from Bandai Namco, but it has no relation to Tekken whatsoever. And it could have been something fighting related. But it's got nothing to do with fighting is whatsoever. Don't nobody that plays Tekken that is worth their salt give a damn about Pac-Man. I'm sorry. I hate to be a Debbie Downer on this, but I saw that and I was like, Pac-Man stage? If that's just the Tekken 7 stage that has been repurposed, the arena, I'm going to be like, guys, how many times are we going to repurpose things? But I'm not going to jump the gun there. We don't know. I saw Pac-Man and I rolled my eyes. I raised my eyebrows. I was like, okay, whatever. Not buying that unless they do something insane with it, which I just can't see them doing. So this Tekken Talk was a mess in my opinion. It was an absolute mess. They said before this they were going to be focusing more on defense, and all I saw was more reasons to piss people off. Everything that we expressed that we didn't like about this Tekken Talk, they increased by 100. And it wasn't just me because I was late to the party. I didn't get to see the Tekken Talk before a lot of you guys. A lot of you saw it live. I saw Moonsault Slayer was streaming, Main Man was streaming, I think K-Wiss was streaming. There were a bunch of people streaming. King J had already seen it. When I woke up, my group chats were on fire. and everybody was saying, see you in season 3. Now, there is actually a group chat that I'm a part of that's got like 50 people in it, and they have actually all quit, but they're all long-running Tekken fans. So they tuned in to see what's going on, and they said, yeah, we're good. I think we'll stay over here. Sorry, I just need to splice this part into the video because I found this interaction on Twitter really laughable on Harada's behalf. So someone called Tekken Madagascar tweeted out saying, you said season 2 will reward more defensive gameplay and then you implement chip damage on throw breaks, so you punish a skilled player from guessing the right answer on his defensive option. What is the point? And this guy tagged Harada and Michael Murray and said, I'm truly disappointed. And Harada responds back saying, why don't we have a discussion after actually playing the updated game? Well, if you haven't played the new version yet, but still choose to express such strong anger and disappointment towards us, saying you can no longer trust us, then I won't stop you from leaving. And since you don't seem capable of having a calm discussion, I'd also like to keep my distance from you. Thank you and goodbye. Now, Harada, I'm sorry, but do you have the emotional temperament of a 10-year-old girl or something? The guy was not expressing anger or anything. He expressed disappointment. It literally says in the tweet, disappointment. Anybody watching that Tekken Talk that has been a fan of Tekken for a long time is going to be disappointed. And then for you to say, why don't you wait and play the game? You put the presentation out. You put that media out for us to consume. What did you want us to do with it? We're reacting to what you gave us. You told us that we're going to have more defensive options, and then you showed us nothing. So what do you want exactly? You just want us to blow smoke up your ass. Is that the player base that you want? You want a bunch of shields, basically. Is that what you're looking for? Shields. You gave us that information. We reacted to it, and now you turn us to hold fire. Why don't you put together a presentation that is worthwhile next time? We got more damage, more chip damage, more force 50-50, more wall pressure bullshit, more plus and block nonsense, new anime moves that we never asked for, absurd damage on hell sweeps now. Like, you didn't show us anything that would make us enthusiastic to play the game. You showed us things that made us dislike Season 1, and you amplified them. If Season 1 was Kaioken, we have now entered Super Saiyan. And that is why people are disappointed. And your childish remarks, like you don't want to be around these people anymore, this is your player base telling you that we don't like the direction that you are sending Tekken. And you do the Tekken Talks knowing that the casual is not watching the Tekken Talks. Maybe some are. Maybe a few are, but the more locked in players, the more in tune with the hardcore aspect of the game, or people that are content creators or are always online looking at these things, are going to be watching the Tekken Talk. You know what the audience is. You can even tell based on the numbers that the Tekken Talk will get. And yet you act like these people are not the ones watching and that you're not expecting this visceral reaction. Now, I'm not encouraging anybody to say anything crazy to you, but Twitter's there so that we can communicate with you. And yes, we are disappointed. Be a man about it and hold the L. You've decided to push this game in a direction we don't want. You and your Tekken team. We are telling you we don't want it in this direction. We told you in Season 1 we did not like these things. We told you in Season 1 we did not like heat. And what did you do? You turned the heat up. Make it make sense. What kind of response was this? I cannot see the changes that they've made for Season 2 going over well. Now again, there are meant to be over 1,000 changes, so maybe they in their infinite wisdom showed us the worst ones imaginable, but the ones they showed us are the ones I'm going to comment on, and it was absolutely abysmal. They did not bring the power down, they increased the power, and they made mix-ups even more potent. So that's a massive W for all of us that were complaining constantly about being stuck in 50-50s. We are going to be stuck in even more 50-50s now. There's a part in this Tekken Talk that made me laugh. Anna does her bazooka attack, and it's a low slash kick. Slash kicks notoriously come from when you're running and you kick low. In Anna's case, Anna will do that to you and then she will use her bazooka. Now in heat, it does an absurd amount of damage. It already does pretty good damage outside of heat, but in heat it is a true combo and it does absurd damage. Like, I mean, ridiculous. And Michael Murray had the gall and the nerve to turn around and go, I don't know why everyone's overreacting, it's only in heat. Michael Murray, you spend most of the time in heat in this game. How many times have people told you that if you want to push heat in this game, fine, but can you do it once per round? Can it be a system where you pop it, you get a benefit from it, and you move on to playing some actual Tekken? No, that's not what happens. You have heat every round, so every round we have to deal with this bullshit. A low that does how much damage? Like, what the hell is that? And you're telling people not to overreact. The problem here is that the people you're telling to not overreact understand the game better than you do. No offense, I know that you work on the game, but there's been multiple times where you've said things that are deeply out of touch. And this was another showcase of somebody that doesn't understand Tekken the way the players do. That move is ridiculous. And the fact that you would say to people it's only in heat, most of the game is played in heat. Rounds are decided by heat. It's such a prevalent part of this game, and it's why your core player base is being turned off by it. Now, it might just be a case that the core player base is smaller than the wider player base, and that most people actually like heat, because I cannot understand the logic here. They have increased things that we hate. On top of that, it does a lot of chip damage. You cannot punish it. It pushes you way back. And if you're at the wall and she does that move on you, you will bounce off the wall, so you're put into a forced 50-50 scenario. Again, just more bullshit to deal with. Fantastic. Way to put your player base off. Now, I didn't like what I saw from Anna. I don't like this whole bazooka thing. You can call me a boomer. You can say I'm an old man, but Tekken to me was always about the martial arts. They had goofy things here and there, but we've been over this before. For the most part, it was in the character designs and not what they were doing in the fight. So people will reference Alex and Roger, but Alex and Roger were just boxing you. At the most, they would use their tail to trip you up, which doesn't seem like a crazy thing for an animal that has a strong tail like a kangaroo to do. And again, this is always said by people that never played all the Tekken games. They just saw a dinosaur, they saw a kangaroo, or they saw a devil, and they thought, oh, you got devils in there, what are you complaining about? Nothing like what we have now. Anyways, moving on from Anna, because I don't want to spend too much time on her. I don't like what they've done with her. I think she looks stupid, and I think she's going to be very annoying to deal with. Going into heat is just more accessible now. You can do it in your stances. So some characters that have stances can just pop heat, which is, again, like, we didn't want more ways to go into heat. We want less ways to deal with heat. We don't want heat being a prevailing factor. People don't like it. But then I say that out loud and I'm like, am I wrong about that? Is it just the vocal minority on Twitter? Is it the core player base has become so small and the casual player base actually loves this shit? Because everywhere I look, it seems like people don't like it. There was a funny part in the stream where Michael Murray said, if you're a defensive player, you're not really going to like Anna because she's not really a defensive character. And I was like, what game are you playing? Who's a defensive character in this game? We are forced to rush each other down. That is how the game is. Anyway, we'll move away from that. They nerfed key charging, so now key charging doesn't operate in the fashion that it always has. It does a damage boost, but you don't get the counter hit properties. So I looked and I was like, I don't think anybody asked for that. I don't think anyone asked for that. If there were issues with particular characters and key charging, then you can address the moves that give those particular characters an unfair advantage when somebody's on the ground. But to just universally change key charging, why would anybody use this now? They've added all these in-game graphics now so you can see counter hit and combo counters and whatever. And at first I was like, oh, that looks ugly, man. Why? But then they said you can turn it off. So I was like, fine, whatever. I'll turn it off. I don't like it. As long as I have the option, I don't really care. People like it, that's good for them. Now, there was one change that I really did like, and they stressed that all of the power crushes have lost their ability to go into heat. That is a really, really good change. Now, there are some other cool changes in this, like the practice mode stuff where you can just access practice mode options from like a macro. Those are all good. But there's so many overwhelmingly bad things that's what I'm going to spend my time talking about, because the things that they did change, they weren't massive deals. They were like nice quality of life changes. But that power crush change, that's a pretty big deal. I think that's a really good thing. That pushes things in a good direction. They then started showcasing Zafina. They started showcasing Jin, Devil Jin, and a bunch of other characters, and everyone was just like, what the hell is going on? And Jin's change initially started off good. 214 got a nerf, down 2 got a nerf, but then they started showing what else he got, and we were like, it's just more Unga Bunga, it's just more anime nonsense. And then they got to King, and King, well, it wasn't universal to King, but they used him to showcase it, that you can give people damage now when you do a grab and they break it. You do a grab with me, I guess right, and I get punished for that. And Michael Myers there going, no, it's recoverable. Like, bro, like, no, what sense does that make? What sense does that make? That was some shit that happened in Soul Calibur. I used to remember you do a grab, you get like 1%, and I used to be like, why? I broke the grab. Why am I taking damage for that? The chip damage on Anna and some of these characters just looked absolutely absurd. They gave King more ways to mix you up, more stuff to do from his running stance. I was watching, I was just like, did they not listen at all? Now again, to the people that were saying that they're not going to pass judgment until they get their hands on the game, fine, I understand that sentiment. But if you put a presentation out to me, I'm going to comment on the presentation. That's what they put forward. That's all I can talk about. I am happy to eat my words if we get the game and it's completely different. They just decided to showcase us the most aggressive portions of it. Whatever reason they did that, I will never know, since we clearly said we want more defensive options, and that would have really put the game in a good light if they'd showed that to us. But they decided not to. They decided to show us a bunch of shit. I mean, they gave Devil Jin a hell sweep that does 60 damage. And I'm willing to bet probably does more because they probably didn't optimize the combo. I was just like, guys, what are you doing? What are you? Tekken has become an anime fight. You might as well call it Tekken Budokai Tenkaichi now. I don't know how you took season 1 and made it more chaotic, but Virtua Fighter 6 couldn't come soon enough. And I really hope that Sega and RGG Studios are paying attention to what the Tekken team is doing and how the players are reacting. This is not how you take feedback on board. And bear in mind, guys, that when they ask for feedback, they're asking for it on Twitter and they're asking for it on these other social media platforms where they know the core player base is paying attention and interacting with them. So they know that most of the feedback is going to come from us. So if you know that and you're not going to take that feedback on board, why are you asking us in the first place? And if you did take that feedback on board and you just decided to show us another side of Tekken in this 2.5 hours that made it look even more aggressive, then I would call into question your presenting skills. So either way, this was a hot mess. If you did the right thing and you just decided to not show it to us, then you look stupid. If you did the wrong thing and you didn't take our feedback on board, then you look stupid. This was a massive L in my opinion. It did not do good PR for Tekken. I can't sit here and lie to people. I was very excited to be like, okay, we're going into season 2. Let's see what they've changed. Let's see if they've actually listened to what we had to say. And they didn't. It was a resounding boo from Twitter. Everybody on Twitter is like, what the hell is this? And Harada sitting on Twitter saying that, why don't you wait until you play the game? Why don't you present something that we're going to be happy with? Why don't you listen to your player base for once? He's always going on about don't ask me for shit. But then you do a presentation and on the surface, it would be like they're doing a presentation, they're communicating. And I used to say that all the time because I was coming from Mortal Kombat where they do that crappy combat cast. They spend most of the time on birthday shouts and a bunch of other shit nobody cares about. And then they do a developer match, which doesn't really showcase things the way we want them to. So it's basically 10 minutes of getting to what we actually want to get to. And even then, it's nothing. So when you see Tekken doing 2.5 hours, you're like, oh, they're communicating. And on the surface, yes, they're communicating. But it's one of those things where they can hear what we're saying. They can hear words, but they're not listening properly. They can just hear us in the background. They're not listening to what we want. That's what that presentation was. So if Harada is in the right saying wait for the game and play it and then judge, then I would say learn to present something better next time. I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but I just have to comment on it as I see it. Now, I don't want to make this video too long because tomorrow we're going to be doing a live stream with all the usual suspects going over the season 2 changes. And of course, we like to hear from you guys. So the community will be open to jump on the live stream one at a time and give their opinion on what has been going on and give us any pushback and, you know, basically let us know if we're chatting shit or if the Tekken team dropped the ball. So I'm going to leave the video there. Clearly very disappointed by this. You know, they always say people in the FGC are complaining all the time, and we're complaining because they keep putting out shit. It's really that simple. You stop putting out shit, we'll stop complaining. This presentation was a resounding L in my opinion.